Okay, we're beginning now. The attendees are coming in. Okay, our attendees have leveled off.
Could you provide us with a number?
Yes, 43.
Thank you. So good evening to our kindergarten parents. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Buenas tardes a los padres de Kinder. Muchísimas gracias por acompañarnos esta noche.
Today we would like to discuss the kindergarten schedule and the revisions that have been made to better suit our students.
Hoy nos gustaría conversar con ustedes acerca de los cambios que se hizo en el horario de los estudiantes de Kinder.
I would like to introduce myself. I am Dr. Williams, the Assistant Superintendent of the Norristown Area School District.
Me gustaría presentarme a ustedes. Yo soy la doctora Williams, el asistente superintendente del distrito de Norristown.
This evening, I have with me Mr. Skaczynski, the principal of Marshall Street Elementary School.
Esta noche tenemos al señor Skaczynski, que es el director de la escuela de Marshall Street.
Ms. Cole, the principal of the Musselman Learning Center.
La señora
Good evening,
Cole,
parents, and welcome.
La señora Cole, que es la directora del Centro de Aprendizaje de Musselman.
Mr. Smith, the principal of Paul Fly.
El señor
Good
Smith,
evening.
el señor Smith, que es el director de la escuela de Paul Fly.
We also have with us Miss Grove. I'm going to get it, Aaron. Grodnitsky. She is our special ed supervisor for elementary.
You got it.
Yay.
También tenemos a la señora Grodnitsky, que ella es la supervisora del Departamento de Educación Especial del nivel de la escuela elementaria.
Also, we have Mrs. Angelucci, the elementary curriculum supervisor.
Hi, good evening.
También tenemos a la señora Angelici. Ella es la supervisora del currículo, el plan de estudio de los niños de kinder.
And we also have with us Mrs. Molitor, who is the director. She's in charge of special ed and pupil services.
Good evening, everybody. Happy to be here.
Did we lose Mrs. Williams?
Sorry, I think my screen froze for a minute.
We need to introduce Mrs. Molitor.
Okay. Se me frizó la pantalla, pero también tenemos a la señora Molitor, que ella es una de las supervisoras del distrito escolar de Norristown.
And we also have with us Mrs. Maria Salazar Williams, who will translate for us this evening.
Y también tenemos a la señora María Salazar Williams, que es intérprete. Esa soy yo. Muy buenas noches.
And we cannot forget about Leo from our tech department. He will man the Zoom meeting throughout the evening.
Everybody.
También no podemos olvidar al señor Leo, que él es el que toma la delantera en el Departamento de Tecnología del Distrito Escolar.
Leo, if you could advance the slide. So tonight, why are we here? As you know, we've gone through the first few weeks of online instruction.
También nos preguntamos por qué estamos aquí esta noche. Y ya como saben, ya hemos tenido varias semanas de instrucción que comenzamos en línea.
And we have noticed the need to adjust the schedule in order to reduce the number of required live lessons and increase opportunities for small group instruction.
También hemos visto la necesidad de reflexionar en las primeras semanas de instrucción y se ha determinado que hay la necesidad de ajustar el horario de kinder.
And we also would like to lessen the burden on our families.
Y también nos gustaría bajar la carga que lleva la familia.
We noticed your partnership and we appreciate all of the support that you have provided throughout these weeks.
También hemos notado que han sido unos socios con el distrito escolar y de verdad le agradecemos todo el apoyo que nos han brindado.
Leo, if you could advance the slide, please. So at this time, we'll have Mr. Smith discuss the changes to the kindergarten schedule.
A este punto vamos a invitar al señor Smith que nos explique los cambios que vamos a tener en el horario de kinder.
Well, good evening. I want to thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for joining us.
Muy buenas noches, les queremos dar las gracias por darnos esta oportunidad y también por acompañarnos.
I would like to speak for all the principals that are joining you tonight to say thank you for all of your support and the amazing work that you are doing with your child.
Y quiero tomar la oportunidad de hablarle a todos los padres para darle las gracias de todo el apoyo y todo el esfuerzo que han hecho con sus hijos.
You are amazing teachers, and we want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ustedes son unos maestros excelentes y le queremos dar las gracias. Gracias, gracias, gracias.
All right. Well, tonight I'm going to review the schedule, and then we'll jump into any questions that you might have regarding the schedule.
Esta noche nos gustaría repasar el horario y también queremos darle la oportunidad de que ustedes hagan preguntas.
So first, before I go through this schedule, I want to let you know that this will look or should look different at your building. You will not be able to follow exact. This is just a sample schedule.
También le queremos recordar de que lo que están viendo aquí en la pantalla pueda que sea un poco diferente de acuerdo a la escuela, porque tienen que hacer ajustes cada escuela.
All right, so let's jump in. The first thing that you'll notice is there's a lot of things that are the same, and that would be the time blocks on the side up until 11:30.
Se van a dar cuenta de que muchas de las cosas permanecen igual. Por lo menos lo que permanece igual es la columna de las horas desde las 9 hasta las 11:30. Eso queda igual.
So students will continue to start out their day in their homeroom with announcements and morning messages.
Los estudiantes comenzarán su día en el salón principal con los anuncios y los mensajes de la mañana.
And then they will continue with 4 synchronous blocks.
Y ellos continuarán con 4 clases o bloques que serán en vivo.
And that will take you to lunch, which is at 12:20.
Y después eso los llevará al almuerzo que comienza a las 12:20.
Now, when I say 4 synchronous blocks, does not mean that teachers will eliminate the breaks and movement breaks that they have built into the schedule now. That will remain the same.
Y cuando decimos que los primeros 4 bloques son de clases sincrónicas, eso no significa que los maestros van a eliminar el descanso de que ya le habían dado a los estudiantes.
And teachers might have some adjustments with adding that fourth block, recognizing that students will need maybe an additional break in the morning before they jump into the last block.
Y los maestros van a estar conscientes de que al agregar ese cuarto bloque, ellos tienen que estar pendientes de que los niños puedan necesitar un descanso extra.
So what is missing on this schedule is that social studies and science is now going to be pushed into the foundations and ELA block.
Lo que se va a ver un poco diferente en este horario es que estudios sociales y ciencia va a ser incluido en el bloque donde dice fundaciones y ELA.
So that means that there's 40 less minutes of live instruction and that students will now have a hour lunch / recess break.
Y esto significa que los estudiantes tendrán 40 minutos menos de instrucción y van a tener una hora de almuerzo y recreo.
The afternoon will look the same as it does now with the asynchronous times.
La tarde se ve igual como la que tenemos ahora con instrucción que no van a ser en vivo.
So that will remain the same in regards to activities that'll take place in the afternoon.
Eso significa que todo se queda igual en la tarde, incluyendo las actividades que se ofrecen en la tarde.
So just to review, the major change is adding the additional, moving the specials from the afternoon, the live sessions from the afternoon to the morning, so students don't have any live sessions after lunch.
Entonces, para repasar y recalcar los cambios, es que no vamos a tener clases sincrónicas o en vivo en la tarde después del almuerzo. Esas clases en vivo se movieron en la mañana.
And then lunch and recess has been extended.
Y que también el almuerzo y el recreo, el tiempo ha sido extendido.
All right, so that is our revised schedule for everyone.
Y ese es el horario, los cambios que se le ha hecho al horario.
At this time, we would like to open up the floor for questions.
En este momento nos gustaría abrirle preguntas a los padres. Si tienen alguna pregunta.
All right, we have a couple hands raised. The first one we have is Liani.
If you could please inform us of your child's school. And we apologize, Dr. Kirksey is not on with us this evening.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so we are Paul Fly family. Hi, Mr. Smith. So in looking at the revised schedule, this is not all that much different from what we currently have. For us, we have math and lunch switched. So I guess my concern is that now the kids, the kindergartners, are going from 9 to 12:15 without any sort of extended break. So that's concern number one. Concern number two is, again, like this is not very different from what we had before, with the exception of the math and lunch block switching. And now, you know, now it was nice before because my kindergartner and my third grader could have lunch at the same time. So from a parent's perspective, we are only preparing one lunch at a time. So those are the two things I want to flag. The third thing I want to flag is I don't know what the other parents' situations are, but I set up, I hired my tutor, my babysitter, based on our previous schedule. And now that it's very morning heavy, my assistants won't, there's no point in her coming in the afternoon. at this point. So now I either have to, cut her hours, or, she can't come in the morning or whatever. So, it's not as easy as, flipping the switch. So those are my concerns. Again, I don't know the thought process behind, changing everything. Again, this is not very different from what we've already been doing, except for switching 2 blocks.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, first of all, for joining us. Ms. Fox, good to thank you again for being here. I'm going to do my best to answer your questions based off of some of the rationale and what was discussed. So going back and looking at the schedule, what was changed was that the social studies and science had been moved, and that's going to be absorbed in the foundations. The lunch block, obviously we wanted to extend that and build in that recess time, because we were seeing students really struggling after the lunch hour. It was across the board. We did lots of observations in the classrooms just to see the students and parents interactions. We talked to parents. This was a concern that was brought to us. It wasn't just from our observations, but it was from what parents had been experiencing. So which prompted us to join the classrooms, see what was going on after the lunch block, just the struggle that parents were having, getting their students back in, connected. They didn't want to come back, and we felt like we were losing a battle, and parents were losing a battle of just trying to educate their child. Again, I'm sorry, we recognize that the schedule changes, with the lunch being at a different time. We're trying to do what's in the best interest of all of our students. And I know unfortunately it's going to impact some people in a negative way. And again, I'm sorry that puts you in that really difficult situation. But we're looking at the overall, how many students we can help and would benefit, and that we can reduce the after lunch exhaustion that we're experiencing. And I know it's been in every building with a lot of our students. And I'm sure my colleagues will jump in and explain, the rationale and what we talked as a group and with teachers and parents. So it wasn't something that was just a spontaneous, let's just make this move. We really wanted to dive deep, and we know other districts had adjusted their schedule to meet the needs of their students, and that they're achieving success with the modified schedule, adjusting that students are not coming back after lunch, and it's really helping and supporting our students. I know I'm not giving you probably the answer that you want. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of the rationale and understanding of what took place before revising and communicating the schedule.
And if I could add also, thank you, Mr. Smith. And Mrs. Fox, as we move forward in our curriculum, things will increase as well, the level of instruction. We're going to, really dig into reading. The extended breaks will be embedded in the schedule. And we do have mandates from the state that we have to have so many hours, so many minutes of instruction with the students, but the teachers do have the liberty of providing students brain breaks, just as they would do inside the classroom as well. And we have various scenarios, household scenarios going on for us in the district. And we were really working to provide a quality education for all students, because as Mr. Smith shared, when we're going into the classrooms after lunch, students are struggling to refocus and get back on track with learning.
Thank you. That's totally fair. I understand now that you put it that way. And Mr. Smith, I'd like to give a shout out to Mrs. Pinney. She's been doing awesome.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. She is awesome. And she's doing a great job. We visited her classroom a couple times. She is an awesome teacher. Thank you again for your questions. Please feel free to reach out to me. Happy to follow up. I wish I could help you with the other situation, but, please reach out to me. I'm happy to discuss this further.
And Mrs. Fox, thank you for your partnership and your dedication and your commitment to supporting your child during the online learning with the online learning platform. We really appreciate it, and we know it's not hard, and we know it's. I mean, we know it's hard, and we know it's a sacrifice. So, thank you, and we really appreciate every parent that's partnering with us during this time.
All right, next up we have Nikia Pittman.
Hi, thank you. I guess I had a similar concern as the parent who just spoke, and I feel like I got a little bit more clarity regarding it. I guess I'd like to know, when will the new schedule be implemented? And when will we know about these breaks? Unfortunately, I work for Johnson & Johnson. I'm working on COVID trials all the time. So I've actually put together put my child in a supervised virtual environment, and it was set up and they seem to be somewhat aligned. So this is going to be very different. And from what I understood, Mrs. Philbaum has been amazing. He already had that hour break from 11:20 until 12:30 when they came back. So now we're going to make them sit in an additional hour and then to eat. So I'm just trying to figure out what those breaks will look like and how fast we will know when this schedule is, and how will it be implemented? Will it be a phased approach like it was in the very beginning, or are we just going to have the children? Of course, they've started to get used to this. We've been a month into this process now, and now we're changing it, we're extending it, and I realize that we must change, we must be flexible. This is our new normal. However, this is a stressful situation for not just parents, but the children as well. So I just want to know what the implementation is going to look like, what the timing is going to look like, and what those adjustments will look like.
Yes, so we're planning to implement October 5th. So the teachers, after we have our meeting with the parents, the teachers will begin to prepare the students on letting them know about the changes that are coming forth. Mrs. Pittman, can you please share your child's school?
My little boy goes to Paul Fly. We live across the street from the school.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. All right. So the transition, so the teachers will help with that. I think I missed the second one. If someone can remind me, I'm trying to take notes. When?
Yes, when, how, what the implementation will look like, because now we've kind of gotten the kids used to sitting a specific amount of time, and they kind of know after they have their art, their gym or something, now it's lunch. Like, are we just going to just go right into extending this hour, or is it going to be done in increments? I remember the first week we kind of took our time and built up. I feel like there's a little bit of change, and I also feel like we need to prep the people who are supporting our children as well.
Yes, so how the teachers will share with the students and prepare them. We actually just got off a call as well. Mrs. Angelucci led a meeting, and Ms. Cole led a meeting with our daycare providers. So we're informing the parents, the teachers will inform the students. We're informing the daycare providers so that we can work together to help them with the transition. The breaks, they are with the teachers during the breaks. So Ms. Cole, would you like to explain breaks?
Yes, Dr. Williams. So the breaks really will look, at least I can speak for my building, the breaks look different from classroom to classroom and teacher to teacher. They basically kind of take a gauge as to where the kids are and determine when they need breaks. And if they're going along and things aren't, the kids aren't responding, they may say, you know what, I think we need a brain break here, or I'm going to give you 5 minutes. I want you to go and get a drink, walk around the house, and then come back in. And then other teachers will actually build, breaks in between the subject areas, like maybe between their ELA block and their writing block, they'll do a 5 or 10 minute break. So in my building anyway, it will look different from teacher to teacher. The teachers really know their kids, and when the kids are really engaged and when they start to lose the kids. So they'll kind of determine what that break will look like.
And I guess my other question would be, as you continue to assess this as it moves forward, if you find that some children are really struggling with this now long block of sitting in one spot for maybe almost 3.5 hours, are you going to reassess this again? Is this going to be kind of a continuous model in the way that you're evaluating it, or kind of what's the plan regarding that? Because I know for some children, this will be better, and for some children, this may not be better.
George, go ahead. You can.
So I just want to jump back to I will jump to that question in just a second. So the teachers were part of this planning, and so they're aware and are already planning on, as we roll this out, they're going to build up, and they know their students and what their needs are. So this isn't a decision that was just made by the people that are in front of you. We had reached out to our teachers and to get their support and feedback based off of what they're seeing, what they're observing. So they're certainly going to be skilled at creating breaks and, you know, thinking outside the box, because this is something that they felt like was doable for the students. And these are our kindergarten teachers, which, to be honest with you, are some of the hardest working teachers in the district. And they know their students. And this is a very difficult situation for them, because they love their students, and to be away from them is very challenging. So we did seek their advice and input in regards to this schedule. So I know that they're going to be creative in the, there will be some adjustment. We all recognize that as students get used to this new schedule. We try to keep it like as similar, like the same things are going to be happening, same curriculum material. But I just want to jump back and answer that. Now I'm blanking on the other question that you had.
I'm sorry, I'm full of questions, but
no, it's great.
No, I was just wondering, you know, should we anticipate that we'll continue to maybe kind of reevaluate this as we go forward? I mean, I did raise my concern to Mrs. Philbaum, who I think is amazing. I'm unsure how she can manage this with her own first and third grader at home herself. I'm trying to figure it out for my one child at all. So I definitely understand it. So I just trying to anticipate. I do like the idea that, you know, that there will be understanding. Ms. Philbaum is super understanding. Mm-hmm. It's just, I think the change brings a lot of anxiety in our new normal. So there's question after question, but I want to leave other parents an opportunity to answer questions. I feel like the first parent who asked the question, some of my thoughts kind of were answered at that point as well. So maybe as we continue to talk, some other thoughts I have will be answered in those questions.
Sure. And you know what, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to discuss anything further, but we would certainly, I mean, we're going to evaluate this. We want what's best for our students. I mean, I'm hopeful that we'll be back in school before we have to make any changes. But we all know that's where we want our students, but you know, we certainly are going to keep an eye on it, but we really took our time thinking through, talking about the pros and cons to really develop and create a schedule that we felt would meet the majority of our students in this uncertain time, the unknown of virtual learning with regards to the changes and where we're at right now. But thank you, and please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for joining us tonight and your questions, because I'm sure that other parents had the same questions.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, next up on the list is Bridget.
Yes, hi. My daughter goes to Musselman for kindergarten. Now, the schedule that they are on right now, from 11:30 to 12:05, they're on lunch. I see on the new schedule that they basically go from lunch to the small group sessions, the synchronous learning. Do they have to, after their lunch break, sign back on to have attendance taken?
Ms. Cole, would you like to speak about asynchronous time at Musselman?
Sure. Hi, Ms. Gibson. How are you?
I'm good, Ms. Cole. How are you?
Good. So in the afternoon, the kids will, you know, depending on their schedule that week for groups, they will be signing back in at some point every afternoon to either meet one-on-one with a teacher, one-on-one with a para, or in small groups. during that asynchronous time, we also are starting to push in guidance lessons and lessons from my lead teacher. So things like that will take place. If we have any kind of assemblies like we're going to have on Friday, that's when those things would take place. So yes, the kids will be signing in, just not all afternoon. And again, that will be scheduled per teacher, so it will look different from classroom to classroom.
Okay. You know, Miss Fox is doing an amazing job. She's a great teacher, and you know, just like all the administrators and everything are doing an amazing job. So just to give you like awesome job, thumbs up.
Thanks, Ms. Gibson. We are working really hard, and we all, you know, definitely want to do what is in the best interest of our students and our families. So just know that at all of these decisions, you know, we really like delved into this and really mulled over all of this to make the best possible decisions that we could for our children.
Right. And you know, I appreciate everything. Thank you so much, and just, you know, the support from, you know, not only our part as family, but, you know, just the support of administrators. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
All right, next up, I don't have a name. It's a Galaxy S8 phone.
Hello?
Hello.
Leo, are they there?
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll move on to the next, and they can raise their hand again if they want to try again.
Thank you.
Next up, I have Desiree.
Hello.
Hello.
I wanted to say good evening to everyone, and I have a fourth grader and a kindergartner at Marshall Street. So, my question is, what are we doing with technical difficulties concerning getting back online? I guess logging into class. The reason why I brought that up is because our internet, our internet hasn't been working really good in the morning, and I wanted to know how like is there other parents having that same, you know, I guess bad connection, or is it just us? And how do we go about that? And how is it going to affect my kid's grade, if that makes sense, if we can't get online? It was to the point where I had to use my hotspot to get my daughter and my son online one morning. And those technical difficulties of even logging into the classroom, how is that going to impact my child's grade, if that makes sense? Specifically kindergarten.
Sure. First off, thank you so much for coming out and spending some time with us this evening and listening to you know, to the plan that we have moving forward with our kindergarten students, and to address you know, the technical pieces. You're not alone. You know, there's technical pieces that a lot of parents are experiencing, and a lot of our staff who are teaching from home are as well. It's getting better. I could say that. I know in meeting with my teachers this week, each and every one of them is saying that things are getting better. It will not, if you're trying to log on and you're getting kicked off or anything along those lines, it will not affect the student's grade at all. We understand that these are the times that we're in right now, and this is a special circumstance. So a child's grade, et cetera, will not be affected by something out of their control, something out of our control as well, and something out of your control as a parent. So we do have, you know, we are taking attendance for every block, and there is a code that we are giving if there is specifics to, you know, technology pieces that the parents and families and student, if they're unable to attend the class for the technical pieces.
Okay, thank you, because I just wanted to make sure that
And
like
also,
we all have mishaps, so I didn't want it as far as attendance and things like that. I'm like, I don't want this to be a bad impact on you know, on their grade. So thank you for answering that.
And I think
are you going to talk about the hotspots, Mr. Skaczynski?
I was going to talk about the teachers and the hotspots. Yes.
Okay, awesome.
A lot of our teachers, if they notice, if they see when a child drops off, they will reach out, whatever mode of communication that that particular teacher is using, you know, for immediate communication with that family to try to call them back. So teachers have been really utilizing talking points. They've been utilizing Dojo, different things such as that, to try to call the parent back, to try to call the student back. We also had a hotspot distribution that we did in the beginning of the year, and we have since upgraded that to where if parents are having, if families are having certain technical issues with you know, logging on with internet access, we have a second round of hotspots that we've been distributing to specific families. And once again, that list is created by initiated by the classroom teacher, which then is sent to the principal, which then is forwarded to our IT department. And then our IT department will be reaching out to those families experiencing those difficulties and issuing the brand new hotspots to them.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you again for your support, and thank you for being a mom, and thank you for being a teacher, and you know, for supporting us at Marshall Street and supporting the Norristown School District. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, next up we have Kelly.
Good evening. I am also from the Paul Fly School District. So I also think all the teachers and the administrative are doing an excellent job. And I also am in Miss Penny's class. I also have a second grader in Miss Freeman's class. My question is a two-part question. So I have noticed with both of my kids, and I know the focus of this is mainly kindergarten, but we've noticed a lot of just overall you know, Zoom fatigue or just screen fatigue in general, just holding their attention, and even especially after lunch, not only with the kindergartner, but with the second grader. So my first part of the question was, are you guys, has there been a discussion about altering the schedules for any of the other grades, or has it just been for kindergarten? My second part of the question was, one of the things about kindergarten, I think for at least our family, that my son has been frustrated with is he's a very active boy and he likes to have that interaction with the teacher. So was there any discussion to having a bit more of a small group interaction in the morning for the sessions and switching off half the class and half the class to get more of an interpersonal connection with the teacher and even some of the students versus just keeping them in the larger setting and trying to do the virtual setting?
Yes, we did explore multiple options and thinking about the pros and the cons of all options. So with that, when thinking about the small group, the major concern was the logging on and off for the kids, the additional times that they would have to log off, log on throughout the day. So that was a concern there. And then the Zoom fatigue, Mr. Smith can discuss that as far as breaks. And again, we're going to go back to breaks and teachers providing brain breaks for students throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
So your question, good evening, Ms. Troiano. Thank you. It's good to see you again. I just saw you last week. So yeah, I mean, we are looking at every grade. I mean, obviously we're jumping in, we're observing students in the morning and the afternoon. That's really what our focus has been from an administrative standpoint. just to observe our students and then have these conversations with our teachers, what they're experiencing, you know, because we do recognize that this is a lot of screen time for our students, and it's exhausting. And it's exhausting for adults, let alone, you know, our kindergartners, first grade, second grade, even for our fourth, fifth graders. I know it's a lot. So we are observing, we are looking at it, and, you know, having discussions to see what we can do to support, you know, a conversation with regards to breaks. You know, we're encouraging breaks and giving teachers that leeway. So if they're seeing that their students are struggling, you know, allowing them the opportunity to get up and move and build in, you know, those breaks for the students. So I don't know if I answered your question. Does that answer your question? But
It is. And I say Mrs. Penny has been doing an amazing job, and she kind of reads the room very, very well and sees the fidgety kids and allows them to get up, and has been very lenient with allowing, I know for our son to go up, you know, get up and get his wiggles out even during class. So it's been great. It's been a big help for both my husband and I, and for my son's experience. My recommendation, or my suggestion, I don't know if this is a consideration, is I saw a tremendous difference in the interaction, the attentiveness, and the eagerness to learn when they broke out the first few weeks in the smaller groups to get to know you sessions. So I saw a different version of the virtual school and the potential of it, but it seems like a little bit that is lost when you get a bigger group of kids together. So I just wasn't sure if it was a consideration to do some more small group activities moving forward with the kids, just so they can have some more of that personal connection with the teacher and that one-on-one time with them in a regular, you know, it's as best of a setting as we can get.
right, I will say that, and thank you for that question, and it helps. So the afternoons, right now we're doing a lot of assessments. So looking at how we can support our students. And, you know, we will be looking at moving into the small groups. There are some small groups that have already been started, and that one-on-one support. So that will build up. You know, we're trying to stagger it, so we're not just jumping into all of that right now. So students are building up that stamina, and we didn't want to exhaust them and pack the afternoon right now with the, you know, small groups but we are moving to that. And you'll probably see that over the course of the next couple of weeks, as, you know, your children move into the small group setting and allowing them to connect with other students.
That's perfect. Thank you so much for answering my questions, all your assistance, and all your support through all this. It's meant a lot.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us tonight.
Of course.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have Victoria.
Hello. I'm gonna get straight to the point because for me and my children, it's better that I'm super upfront. I'm extremely upset by this change because I have 5 children right now sitting in my house that I currently am doing online classes for 3 different schools. And now you're telling me later to find a new spot for her because all the other kids are going to be at lunch. It's like their one time to be together and be able to, like, you know, kind of let loose. And, you know, they're all running around. They're all trying to do their thing for the few minutes that they've got lunch. But now I need to find a new spot for my kindergartner because now she's not going to be able to be a part of that because the situation is already very, she's 5. So the attention span is usual, which was, you know, hard enough to. So for us, like, this doesn't at all work. Like, if, you know, the consideration to change all the other kids is the grade schedules, you know, really needs to be a consideration because for, like I said, for our household, this is not going to work. I'm running out of rooms, literally.
Mrs. Valentine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you were going in and out, so I just want to make sure I captured your concern. So you shared that you have 5 children.
I have
and-
5 different kids in my house, not all mine. I have neighbors,
Okay.
neighbor children, but we have 4 of them in under 5th grade.
Mhm.
So they all have the same schedule. They all get their lunch at the 11:30. But now, because you guys are changing kindergarten to even later lunch, my daughter's already starving at 11:30. I have to find a whole new spot for her because everyone else is going to be up moving about. And I have to tell her, no, mommy, you can't do that right now. You need to stay in class another hour.
And we do understand what you're sharing, because when we created the schedule, the elementary schedule, our hope was for all the kids to have lunch at the same time. But what we're discovering, especially with our new learners, is that we're losing time with them after lunch. And again, it's not across the board, but the majority of the students, so the teachers are reporting that they're distracted and they're less engaged after lunch. So what we're trying to do is get as much time with them as we can early on, and then give them the afternoon for asynchronous time. We do understand that it's not going to be perfect for each family. We're just trying to really maximize, on their instructional time while they are alert and engaged.
I mean, it's not even a matter of trying to make a perfect schedule, because that's just not going to happen. And I know that, and believe me, I've come to terms with that. But this just isn't going to work. There's no way I'm going to be able to have her be able to focus and do her what she needs to be doing and learning. Meanwhile, I have 3 other kids who are on lunch. So for me, this is just, I'm so disappointed. This year has been such a disappointment. I can't even, across the board.
Ms. Valentine, can you tell us the name of your school?
Paul Fly.
Paul Fly. Can we have someone reach out to you and kind of walk you through it, and maybe we can troubleshoot with you?
It's not a matter of troubleshooting. You guys don't understand. It just doesn't work. Now I have to figure out where I can put her for her to even be able to do it. You guys say you're trying to, I just don't think all the considerations were put in, because I'm on my block. I'm not the only one who's in this type of situation, who has a kindergarten, plus they've got, I don't know, multiple other children, because we're all trying to help each other on my block and let other kids get in our homes. So, I mean, you don't got to bother troubleshooting with me. There's nothing you guys can do for me. You guys are already making it harder for me.
Okay, that was not our intent, and we really apologize. That was not our intent. Our goal is to just adjust the schedule based on the data that we received and observing in the classroom, and to support the young learners.
Ms. Ballantyne, I'll be following up with you tomorrow to discuss this further too. See what I can do.
You really don't have to. It's just more work for me. So, all right. Thank you.
Okay, next up, Rinder.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey.
Sorry, I was in the middle of helping homework. You said that my son goes to Whitehall. He is currently also in daycare. So my question with that was, now is it all the daycares that you communicated with? Because right now, even with everything going on, trying to communicate, and me and his teacher, Miss Henry, do have a very good understanding. Some things he don't get done because they're probably not on them as much because they have other kids in other grades. Mm-hmm. So when he gets home, I have to help him. I have to look over everything that is done to make sure he got it done. Like, for example, I just redid his math homework because they looked like they helped him with it, but in reality, all of it was wrong. So,
could you share the name of the daycare?
He goes to Magic Memories in Norristown.
Mrs. Angelucci, does that name sound familiar? Magic Memories in Norristown.
Yes.
But I had to change rooms that I was in. Yes, Magic Memories was on the invite list. I don't think that they were able to attend. I've been in email contact with them, but I don't think they were attending the meeting this evening. But we did record that meeting and we'll be sending it out. So I will follow up with them directly to make sure that they receive that.
Okay, yeah, that was going to be my next question on if there was some type of email or something I can send them, because knowing how they're doing things now, trying to communicate, they're doing as best as they can, but they have other grades. But just trying to, my son was so used to the schedule and with me working, and then I come home and get him and jump right into his schoolwork to make sure he got it done in time. So I was just making sure I can have the communication between the daycare so he doesn't fall behind, and to make sure that what I have going on with him with daycare, the communication with the teacher, he might hand some things in late because of the lack of communication with the daycare. If they don't do things, they're more of monitoring him, not really kind of helping him along the way because he can't read yet, being in kindergarten. So I was just making sure everything was okay with our current situation.
Mrs. Angelucci, would you like to share some highlights from the meeting so Ms. Drury will know what was shared?
Sure. Yes, so we shared with them the schedule for our elementary students, including this new kindergarten schedule. We talked with them specifically about the difference between synchronous and asynchronous time and what that would look like in the setting. Since the daycares have students from multiple different elementary buildings, different grade levels, every kid in the room might be doing something different. You know, they're on with a different teacher. So we just kind of shared with them what a general synchronous time would look like versus what asynchronous is going to look like. We talked about student testing and sort of the ideal conditions that would be good for a student if they're doing testing with their teacher. Just suggesting, you know, a quiet place to do that that's free from distractions. We shared with them the programs that we use here in the district, and then we also talked with them about just having those open lines of communication and who to go to make sure that they have all the information that they need. So we encouraged the daycares to communicate with the parents about kind of what they're seeing during the day and any concerns that they have, you know, academically or behaviorally. And of course, we're encouraging the parents to keep those communication lines open as well with the daycare and just share any updates that they have.
Okay, thank you. I have realized that his afternoon check-in, I think the daycare is doing it with him somehow. The teacher knows he's there because she knows him being in daycare. But I realized when he gets home, when I can't even say the word, the actual afternoon check-in, I'm actually checking him in and I'm like typing in his name, asking him the work that was supposed to be done. So it's kind of being checked in late. I just wanted to make sure that was okay.
Ma'am, I can speak for the teachers at Musselman. They're very flexible about when the children.
Oh, he goes to Whitehall.
Okay. I think most of the teachers, you know, are pretty flexible about when the kids hand in their assignments, you know, because every family has different circumstances and different situations. So I would say just make sure that you are communicating with the classroom teacher, and I'm sure either he or she can, you know, walk you through that and, you know, work with you.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's really everything else I had kind of got answered when everyone else was asking questions. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have Kristen.
Hello, thank you so much. So we are a Paul Fly family as well. We have Abby, who is in kindergarten, Keaton is in first grade, and Brendan is in third grade. I'd like to start by saying I am beyond impressed, and thank you guys so much for everything that you've done. We scored the trifecta with Abby getting Mrs. McLaughlin. She was our third time around and has been amazing. Keaton this year has Mrs. Altieri. She's phenomenal. And Brendan has Mrs. Capers, who we also think is doing an amazing job. So thank you so much for that. I guess a bunch of my concerns kind of lie on the schedule, which you've touched a lot on. I would like to start with what I think the positives are. I think it's really impressive to see how the kids are kind of taking ownership of their schedules, what they need to do, where they need to be, recognizing time management as far as, you know, we have to be back to class at this time. This is where we're going for specials. This is what we have to do. I think all that's definitely been a positive through this whole experience. Currently, we have a break on paper for kindergarten from 9:55 to 10:15 a.m. for recess. I don't know if all the kindergarten classes have that, but I can tell you that that is important for us. Abby really excels during that time and kind of talks about what she did during the first, you know, almost hour of the day. I see in this new schedule that that is not there. So that's a little bit of a concern for me. So I know we've talked about breaks will be according to what the teacher sees or what the teacher needs. So I'm open to that, but I think it is kind of important to have that broken into the schedule so that we do know when that will be happening. I'm also a little concerned about the lunch thing that I know a couple of the other parents have spoken about. Again, I have a first grader and a third grader. When they all get together, it is, again, decompression. It's good where they're all eating at one time. Lunches are all made. They kind of reflect on what they've done, where they need to be. So that is one of my concerns with this change. I guess too, we're saying that, you know, things are a little bit weak after lunch, which I can understand. They are, you know, 5 and 6 year olds. That being said, I feel like this kind of change is kind of making it more of a half a day schedule versus the full day that I think the district kind of prides themselves on and what we've all been experiencing with either other children or, you know, new to the district. So I think that's a little bit concerning. I think that what you're offering from 120 to 220, I'd just like to hear a little bit more about as far as it being a counselor session or the nurse session, things like that. I think if it was more of an intended group session with the teacher or different students, I think I'd maybe feel a little bit more comfortable with that. But I'm just kind of a little curious as to what the expectations are for that last hour before they go into the, you know, synchronous part for that last potential hour of the day. It just kind of seems like more of a very smaller day than what they're doing right now. I just think it'll be harder for them to come back at 1:20 than it was for at 12:35. But again, I'm open to it. I understand that there's different situations. And I just kind of wanted to know if the information that's coming in is more from parents of students that are new to kindergarten or that have multiple kids in the school system or, you know, district or school, so to speak, and how that's affecting everyone. Sorry, I know that was a lot.
I think I got them all. I think I wrote
Okay,
them
good.
down. All right. So thanks
You
for
never
joining
fail
us.
me.
So let's first talk about the schedule. So what we presented today was a framework. We're not adjusting. Teachers are not going to redo what they already have in place for the morning. So if that's built in, that's going to continue to be built in. Okay. So we're not changing that. This is just presenting the framework of we're moving the math block. So, you know, I wouldn't expect much change that. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I think that's what you were looking for, you know, so you're not like, oh my word, now my child has to get used to every single thing in the morning. Like normally they have the break at this time. Teachers are still going to do that. And they have the schedule. So what they might do is maybe add another break after, you know, the third block, because they know that students are going to come back and be, you know, need some time. So really teachers are not going to look at revamping the entire schedule. They're going to keep it as consistent as they already have it. All right. It's just that math block. Moving and talking about the afternoon. So yes, that afternoon time was designated for small groups. So right now we're doing assessments on students to see what students need. And the plan is to build up that, you know, we were also building up the stamina of the students so that, recognizing that they can handle that afternoon session. We want to do the small groups during that time as well. But we're going to be using data to kind of direct us and guide us through the afternoon session. So yeah, there'll be small groups. There'll be time for the guidance counselor to pull students. I know our guidance counselor is going to be doing that shortly. And then I'm looking at the Spanish block right now, so I can't tell you. Hold on, let me pull up the other schedule when I have. So, all right. Right. Just give me a second. All right, so we have nurse lessons group, one-on-one support. There's gonna be things that we're gonna be rolling out. I'm gonna be talking, I would encourage you to join us tomorrow night at our PFC meeting at 6:30, because I'll be talking about that. I'll also be sharing more about that in my next week video about things that are gonna be coming up in the afternoons that we're gonna be doing that are gonna be unique. But yeah, so we're gonna be doing small group instruction during that time. So you'll see that, see us move into that and transition into that, in the month of October. The last question was regarding.
It was regarding, is it basically like the feedback? Did you, and again, if you can't share this, that's okay. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but I was just curious if it was more feedback based on people that are the first time, parents or students in kindergarten, so to speak, as those that have older siblings like us, that lunch was critical and it was great that they could all be together. And like Abby's going to have trouble sitting still upstairs in her, desk till 12:20, knowing that Keaton and Brendan are down here having lunch at 11:35 that she was used to having. So that I was just curious about that as far as the research or, whatever was done to kind of come to that decision.
Yeah.
So it was, were you about to speak?
I was not. Go ahead, Dr. Williams.
Okay. So the information, the feedback from observations and feedback from our teachers, that was quite a bit of the observation. I mean, the feedback that we were receiving, because the teachers realizing what they need to get done, and we are early on. We still need to teach reading. The Foundation's home kits are coming home soon. So looking at everything that needs to get done, how students are responding to the virtual platform. So that's why we made the adjustments. And I'm not sure on, as far as which parents are new parents, but we do have quite a few new parents. The scenario that you have, and we are so grateful for parents who are able to sit with students. But as you hear, we have some students who are in daycare. We have some students who are supported by older siblings. We have some students, you'll look in the classroom and they are seated alone. So we have a lot of different scenarios that we're just trying to meet the needs of all children.
I think something too, during that 120 to 220 block that we haven't gotten to yet, which we will as soon as I know Mr. Smith alluded to testing, is our win period, what the students specifically need. So that's going to be an opportunity for the teacher to excel the students' learning through project-based, through a computer-based program that we're using, IXL, or it's also going to be an opportunity for the teacher to gather a small group and possibly go over a concept or a skill that maybe a cohort of students wasn't grasping, and then assign those students onto IXL as well. So it is an opportunity that there's opportunities that we haven't gotten to yet, just because we're still in the process of assessing our students to see where they are, so we can have a better idea and a good idea of where and who they could possibly be grouped with.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the feedback. Truthfully, as we're a couple years in and we've been in school, fortunately, and stuff. I feel like for the new parents that have their first child, there's nothing wrong with that. They're probably even more overwhelmed, than we are with the multiple kids. So I just want to work with whatever's best for everyone. And I think you guys are doing an amazing job, and change is change. And that's just what this year is, right? So thank you for everything, and we'll work with it and it'll all work out, I'm sure.
Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it.
Okay, next up we have Christine.
Hi, my daughter's name is, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. You basically pretty much answered all of the questions. I actually forget some of the questions that I had, but the one thing that sticks out to me right now currently is the 9:20 to 10 o'clock session, the foundations. Forgive my ignorance because my daughter is with a sitter during school, so I'm not too familiar with the day-to-day, one second, the day-to-day instructions, but social studies and science is included in the 9:20 to 10 o'clock session. So is that like, will they be split? It looks overwhelming to me because I see foundations and then I see that social studies and science were included in this session. Is it something that will be split during the week or is it all together?
When early learners, it's easier to embed social studies and science concepts within the reading portion of their day. So it's not necessarily split. Teachers will just infuse those themes within the reading block.
Okay. And the asynchronous time is, I'm assuming 2:20 to 3:20. That's when work can be done individually and on their own. Because I see here it's like time for sessions with teachers to do what they need to do. So I guess this is the asynchronous time where the kids have the opportunity to do homework and whatever else they need to catch up on.
Could you share the name of your child's school?
I'm sorry, Marshall Street Elementary.
Okay, Mr. Skaczynski, could you share asynchronous work?
Sure. Asynchronous work could, as we kind of already alluded to, can range from students working in a WIN group, what they specifically need. Could be working on a counselor lesson. Could be working on a thematic unit for that week. Could be working one-on-one with the teacher. Could be working specifically with a group where the teacher is working with 3 to 4 students in that group. Also, too, the teacher, when they're working with specific groups of students, they have assignments for the other students to be doing as the teachers working individually or in that small group with those other students. And then, you know, the time from the 2:30 to 3:20, that as well is time for the teacher to, you know, to continue working with the student, to possibly, I know at Marshall Street, a lot of our teachers utilize that time to reach out to parents and families, have one-on-one conversations with our parents and families. We made the commitment to not do homework. So this is another opportunity for us to, you know, to provide the work for the students so they can work independently on a concept or an activity that was going on during one of the blocks, and you know, for the teacher then to be able to do a check for understanding to see, you know, if the student got what was being taught, and then possibly to go back and to maybe do a little reteaching with the student too. So there's a lot of flexibility, you know, with that time block from 2:20 to 3:20, but it is a continuation plus of the 1:20 to 2:20, the asynchronous.
Okay. Well, thank you for the explanation. And I love Mrs. Gambone. She's a great teacher and she thoroughly communicates everything, which is a plus. So thank you so much for all the work that you do for the students and the parents.
And thank you for carving out time and spending it with us tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, our next one up is Gracie.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I have a student at Musselman, And I can just be very honest with you and just let you know that it is a struggle. My daughter is a very young kindergartner. She just turned 5. So having her sit for 2 hours at the most is very difficult. But she's adapting and she's definitely learning. And I want to just piggyback off of what one of the other parents had mentioned. She does well with smaller groups. Or smaller groups and the teacher being there. When it's all of the students online at once, she looks around, she's like running around, not really paying attention. But when I notice when the teacher's there with her, calling her out, she works a lot better. So I think the schedule looks fine. I think the schedule in the morning is great because she does very well the first 2 hours, and then after that, forget it. So I think the schedule, I mean, we'll adapt to the schedule, but trying to get her on past 12, I struggle. I really do. And I know the school will work with me. That's not an issue. And I know the teacher very well. She's great, Miss Smith. And I just need some help here as far as getting her engaged and just keeping her focused.
Hi, ma'am, and thank you for coming tonight and, you know, expressing your concerns. And as you said, we are more than willing to work with you. And believe me, you are not the only parent that are expressing
I
concerns.
know.
You know, they're 5 years old, and you know, when we dove into this, we thought, oh my goodness, they're 5 years old. How are they ever going to adapt to online learning? But let me tell you, when I think about kindergarten students, the word that comes to my mind right away is resilient. And they truly, truly are. And so are the kindergarten teachers. The kindergarten teachers really think outside of the box. So we're going to continue to, you know, look at this situation, assess the situation, and work with families as needed. And some families need a little bit more than other families. And I just encourage you to please keep that open communication with Mrs. Smith, with myself, and we can help support you in any way through this. But believe me, you know, we will work through it together, and, you know, we will make these adaptations, and little by little, we will continue to build up the kids' stamina, and, you know, we will be working more one-on-one as we get all of the testing done, as some of the other principals alluded to. In the afternoon, yeah, a lot of that right now is that testing, but, you know, once we get that all out of the way and we determine what it exactly is that our kids need, then you're going to see more small group instruction.
Okay. I appreciate it.
I just continue to reach out to us.
Oh, I definitely will. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your support.
All right, next up we have Nicole.
Hello, this is actually Jason. I'm Nicole's husband. My daughter goes to street. And a couple things on here. The specials, is there a way we can just have a actual schedule of what days what special is going to be? So that specifically the day she needs to be in sneakers or in something for gym, or if some art materials required, we know she needs that day. Also, the one thing I think specifically she is not having an opportunity for is some student interaction. There's interaction with students and the teacher, but the children don't seem to have an opportunity to just interact with each other. And I don't know when or how we could manage that, but if there was some time where the kids could just communicate with each other that wasn't necessarily answering questions. And as far as the asynchronous time after lunch, when will we know what days specifically they're going to be needed for these groups or these? I know we're notified that there's a test this week, but if we're trying to plan out a schedule of things, it's better to know, you know, ahead of time, as opposed to like tomorrow she'll have to do this and suddenly we're scrambling to figure something out. Thank you.
Sir, I think we missed the child's school, your child's school. Can you repeat
Yeah,
that?
it's Marshall Street.
Marshall Street. Okay, thank you. Mr. Skaczynski, did you receive all of that?
I did. Great questions. There's a couple things there that, you know, I think when we do something like this, it's an opportunity for us to grow too as building leaders. And there's some things there, you know, specific to some of your questions, addressing the special areas. You know, I think sometimes we as building leaders, we assume that, you know, that all the students are at home, and some of the students might be with grandma, might be with grandpa, or at daycare. So, so I do know that as far as the schedule for specials, things like that, the teachers do have the special schedule posted in their Google Classroom. What we will do is I will send out to the families, communicate to you the master schedule, so then that way you have it, so you can see we go on a rotating letter schedule. So so you know, not every A day the children, you know, won't have the same special. It all depends on how many days of the week, etc. So we want to be mindful of that, so we don't get kind of confused with that. So once again, the teachers will continue to post in their Google Classroom, and we will be sending out the master schedule for that. And the student interaction, I think once again, that is, you know, I think of myself as you know, having my son who's in a similar situation, and that's where he thrives. And you know, once again, having creative conversations with my teachers, you know, Marshall Street teachers are just fantastic and have been going above and beyond in the things that they're doing, and really presenting just a first-class virtual lesson to our students. You know, really providing opportunities for them to, you know, communicate is something that I think is a great suggestion, and certainly, you know, be able to communicate that to them. So so thank you for those questions, and actually those suggestions too, sir. So I hope I was able to answer those. You know, and if there's anything else, you know, certainly please reach out to me at school. Did I get all of them, Mr. Subik?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, up next, Dale.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can.
My name is actually not Dale. This is my husband's phone. So I'm Christina. I am a mom of 3 small ones. I'm a Paul Fly mom. And I believe I heard my question asked, but I didn't hear the answer. So excuse me if I missed it. Have you guys considered changing the schedule for all of the elementary grades to be a little more, to fall in line with this, as they're all kind of early learners? Obviously, the 5th graders are the earliest, but they're all still kind of young.
We have discussed continuing to gather data for all of our elementary classrooms. So now we wanted to focus on kindergarten first and see how things would progress. But as we shared, this is a plan, and if we need to adjust the plan to support children, we will make adjustments.
Okay, so this is being school, like elementary wide, it is being considered or being examined.
Yeah, so when we go in to visit the classrooms, collect the data, so it's not a need at the moment, but you know, the principals are going in, supervisors are going in to see how kids are acclimating to the new virtual learning platform. But at the moment, we don't have a plan to change just yet.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have Louise.
Ms. Williams?
Can you hear me?
There we
Yes,
go.
ma'am.
Yep, now we do.
I don't know what's going on.
You have a question you'd like to ask? Moving on to next, we have Bridget.
Yeah, hi. So I'm actually one of the parents in the district who have had technical difficulties with the hotspots that the school provided. I have the old one, and I know I have one that is actually right now currently sitting at the district building. Do we have to bring back the old device that was issued at the beginning of the year?
So if you're moving to one of the different hotspots, yes, we return the current one and then we exchange it for one of the newer ones.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Next up is the Galaxy phone again. We'll see if it's able to speak this time. Okay, they don't appear to be unmuting. Let's see. And then we have Luis again. Hello, Luis.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So, question was, I have a kindergartner, a second grader, and I have 5 altogether actually. Fifth grader, a 8th grader, and an 11th grader. And it's kind of hard with the Wi-Fi. It keeps shutting off. Like, I'm guessing it's just too many people on at once. So when it's time for some of their lessons, we're being shut out of the lessons for my students. And sometimes I'm able to get back in to do it, and sometimes it's just keeps buffering for us. So I'm not sure what else to do.
Leo, do you have any helpful tips for connectivity issues?
So for the
With multiple
connectivity,
users?
what are you
Multiple
currently
users?
using?
Xfinity, the Essential.
Okay, so the Internet Essentials package, I don't know how many concurrent learners that will support. We can, I believe, provide a hotspot, so you can try to split your learners on the Xfinity plan and to one of the hotspots. The hotspots can't support 5 either. It's too much, but we may be able to split, 2 and 3.
Okay.
And then we can see if that'll help keep them all online at the same time.
Okay. And also, it's a little hard also with me having to do with my kindergartner and my second grader also, as I have to listen into both of their lessons because they need help with if they need materials from their teacher, or so it's kind of hard with both of them trying to listen and not have their headphones on, and we're in the same space to try to adjust to that. So I know my kindergartner, her teacher always put out in the morning time what I'm supposed to have out for the day. But I would need like my second grader teacher to also do the same. But I still have to sit there and listen, and it's kind of hard. So,
Could you please share the name of your child's school?
Whitehall.
Okay. So we will let Dr. Kirksey know. Can you please give us the name of the second grade teacher?
Ms. McMahon.
Okay, so you need information ahead of time so you can organize their supplies and materials?
Well, but it's still kind of hard with me trying to have both of them without headphones on, and there's no way that I can do it. They can't do it with the headphones, so they're not really hearing what their teachers are saying at the same time. So, I mean, I don't know what else to do, and I can't separate them because I need to be there with both of them. So it's getting kind of hard for me.
Is it possible to have the second grader wear headphones and focus more on the kindergartner?
He's not focused himself, so it wouldn't be possible.
Okay. What about, in between? So depending on what the teacher is working on, but I'll have Dr. Kirksey reach out to you so someone can work with you.
Okay.
To see what they can do. And that is your Miss Louise Williams.
Yes.
And you have a kindergartner and a second grader. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have someone reach out to you.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay, once again, the phone is back. He's raising his hand, so let's see if he will try to speak. Okay, no response, and that was the last one.
That's the last one, Leo? Okay, so we'd like to thank all of our parents for joining us this evening. I'm sorry, Mrs. Williams, Salazar Williams, are you ready? Is she still with us? Mrs. Salazar. Okay. Well, we'd like to thank all of our parents for joining us this evening to discuss our revised kindergarten schedule, and I'll allow our panelists an opportunity to say goodnight. Ms. Cole?
And I'd like to echo those same sentiments, Dr. Williams. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. It really speaks volumes about who you are as parents and the fact that you're really committed to your child's learning. So just know that, we are in this together, and we are going to continue to look at that data, as Dr. Williams had said, and continue to make changes to make our schedules best for the students in the North Center Area School District. So again, thank you.
Mr. Skazinski or Mr. Smith?
Yeah, I just want to say, thank you, parents and families. It's tremendous to see, when we poke into classrooms, to see you working side by side, with your children, encouraging them, pointing things out to them, arranging paper for them, reading things, and really being their teacher at home. So, and it doesn't go by unnoticed. When I meet with the teachers and we have discussions, that's the first thing that comes up is the great job the parents and families are doing. So thank you for, for what you're doing, being the teacher at home, and all the other things that you're doing as well. If you have questions, please reach out to your schools, reach out to your teachers, reach out to your principals. And again, thank you for carving out the time this evening and spending it with us. It just speaks volumes of the dedication of our families in Morristown. Thank you.
Just going to echo Ms. Cole and Mr. Krasinski, so we can end the meeting and you can get back to attending to your children and or dinner if you didn't have dinner. But thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.